So in this video, we'll be looking at Dicey and Bryce's views on democracy. Dicey's views on democracy focus on legislation in a democracy and how laws should reflect popular opinion. I repeat, Dicey's views of democracy focus on legislation in a democracy and how laws should reflect popular opinion. In 1905, in his book Law and Opinion, Dicey treated democracy as a form of government under which majority opinion determines legislation. I repeat, in Dicey's book Law and Opinion, he treated democracy as a form of government under which majority opinion determines legislation. Dicey tried to demonstrate that legislation is a function of prevailing public opinion. I repeat, Dicey tried to demonstrate that legislation is a function of prevailing public opinion. Dicey believed that such laws framed by legislation should also enjoy the approval of the people. It would be unwise to enforce laws not approved by people in a democracy. So any legislation that takes place in a democracy, the people should approve of it, or at least a majority should approve of it. Dicey also pointed out that particular laws are a product of particular historical setting. Public opinion under democracy is not a uniform phenomenon. I repeat, Dicey says that particular laws are a product of particular historical setting. For example, reservation in India for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. It is a product, that is, this particular law is a product of our particular historical setting. So public opinion under democracy is not a uniform phenomenon, and particular laws are a product of particular historical setting. Hence, democracy has not produced uniform laws across the world. This is Dicey's view on democracy. We will next look at Bryce's view on democracy. Bryce's two works, The American Commonwealth, which was published in 1893, and Modern Democracies, which was published in 1921, are famous for his views on democracy. Bryce defined democracy as the rule of people expressing their sovereign will through their votes. I repeat, Bryce defined democracy as the rule of the people expressing their sovereign will through the votes. So we'll now look at Bryce's justification for democracy. Bryce said that the test of the government was how well the government served the interests of the people. Thus, the standard of merit of any form of government can be judged by the adequacy with which it performs the chief functions of governance. The chief functions of governance are as follows: the protection from internal and external enemies of the state. That is, the state must be protected from the internal and external enemies. Securing of justice for the people. Efficient administration of common affairs and the bestowal of aid to individuals. So these are the 4 points that Bryce makes. Bryce says that the state should be protected from internal and external enemies, securing of justice for individuals, efficient administration of common affairs, and the bestowal of aid to individuals. The people in a democracy exercise their authority in two ways. The first one, people determine the ends towards which their government shall aim, and the second one, people watch over those into whose hands they have placed actual power of administration. I repeat, people determine the ends towards which the government shall aim. That is, the people shall provide a vision to the government. The second one is, the people will watch over those they have placed in the power of administration. That is, the people will watch over the politicians or their representatives, and they will demand accountability from them. Bryce does not see democracy as a panacea to all the ills of the state. He prefers it to other forms of government because it brings about a considerable improvement in governance. I repeat, Bryce prefers democracy to other forms of government because it brings about a considerable improvement in governance. Bryce does not see democracy as a panacea to all the ills of the state. Democracy has not led to world brotherhood, nor has it dignified and purified politics, but it has provided better governance. This is Dicey's reason for choosing democracy over other systems of governance. That democracy has not led to world brotherhood, but it has provided better governance. Bryce has also focused on the defects of democracy, and he gives 6 outstanding evils of existing systems of democracy. The first one, the power of money to pervert decisions from being made, executive or legislative decisions. So Bryce says that money can prevent decisions from being made in a democracy. The second point, the tendency to allow politics to become a trade entered for gain and not for service. So in a democracy, politics becomes a trade for the gain of the individual and not for the service of the people. This is what Bryce says. The third point, extravagance of government functionaries by utilizing the funds of the state meant for the welfare of the people. So Bryce is saying that the government functionaries indulge in themselves using the funds of the state, which is actually meant for the welfare of the people. The fourth point, lack of recognition of merit by the government and to abuse the doctrine of equality. The fifth point, party politics eventually resulting in a less well-off society. The sixth point, tendency of politicians to play to the galleries for the votes. So these are the 6 evils of democracy that Bryce sees in the present system of democracy. He says that this can be fought by law and opinion. Bryce also says that people presenting their opinion is a unique safeguard of a democracy. No other form of government provides for it. For example, in a communist system, if there is only one party and people cannot criticize that communist party. So Bryce says that democracy is the only form of government that provides for people to voice their opinions without fear or favor. We will now look at the criticism of Bryce. From the social perspective, Bryce has not deeply analyzed the social problems associated with democracy. From the Marxian perspective, Bryce has underestimated the true significance of industrial democracy. This is what they say. So this is about Bryce's views of democracy. Please watch the video multiple times and read the notes. This concludes the video on Dicey and Bryce's view of democracy. Thank you.